This time, I want to welcome everybody to the November 23rd, 2020 North Coventry Township Board of Supervisors meeting. On this call tonight is myself, Jim Marks, Spencer Claypool, who's Vice Chairman, Harvey Greenwald, Rebecca Elliott, and Rick Sheeler, Erica Badorf, our Township Manager, and Dan Sager, our Solicitor. Before we get rolling and started, I just want to thank everybody for covering for me a couple of weeks ago. Circumstances beyond my control, but you did a good job. The meeting was pretty quick. The pressure is on now. Seems you can move these meetings quicker without me than with me. So I'll do my best to meet your standard. The board has the minutes of the November 9th, 2020 meeting. Do I have any comments or questions on those meeting minutes? Do I have a motion to approve the minutes of November 9th, 2020?
So moved.
Spencer made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Rebecca seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
And I abstained since I was not present. Bills, we have unpaid bills since our last meeting of $26,206. And since that meeting, we had paid bills and payroll totaling $198,709. Do I have any comments or questions on the bills? Hearing none, these bills were posted to the township website yesterday. So any public comment on the minutes, or I'm sorry, any public comment on the bills? If so, please just unmute yourself and make your comment or ask your question. Okay, hearing none, this time I'm going to ask for a motion to pay the $26,206 and acknowledge the $198,709 of payroll and paid items since the last meeting. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Rick made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Oh, I think I heard Rebecca first. Rebecca seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the bills are paid and acknowledged. Developers bills. Any comments on the developers bills? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to old. There is no subdivision and land development. We don't have old business, although Fernbrook might be old business, but we'll cover that in a few minutes. We're going to go right now into a presentation by our officer in charge, Matt Diker, who's here to present tonight some upgrades to the policy. And Matt, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi, Jim. How are you?
Okay, good, man. Why don't we do each one? Why don't we do them one by one? And after each one, we'll make a motion for that. So I'll let you present and explain what these are. As you're complete, we'll see if the board has any comments or questions. We'll open it up to the public to see if they have any follow-up. I'll have a motion on that one, and then we'll move on to the next one. So time's yours.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Out of the four policies that I sent over to the board to review, three of them kind of deal with the Act 59 that was put into effect earlier this year, where police departments are needing to have policies in place dealing with de-escalation, the duty to intervene, and also for the mental health evaluation for police officers. So those three are kind of connected. The fourth one that is out there is dealing with the license plate reader, which we have installed on our vehicles at this time. Two of the vehicles that we have that the license plate reader on them. So if we're picking one, I guess we can just go with whichever one you pick up first. There is fine with me.
Well, how about general order 1, 3, 1, 2?
Yeah, you
Okay,
see that,
sure,
Matt?
sure. We
Okay.
can deal with that. Right. Okay. Yeah. Dealing with the de-escalation. This is, like I said, these policies were coming about because of the changes that have been happening in police departments nationwide, and just making sure that departments have policies in place regarding these issues. In this General Order 1312, it is dealing with de-escalation. It just gives the officers the ability and the chance to, when they come into a situation, they remember to stand back if they need to, give a little space, a little more time for the person to react, to calm the situation down, rather than going in and using force if necessary right up front. As I told the board before in previous meetings, is that this is something that we've been doing already, and it is something that officers do every day. It is now just something that needs to be put down in policy. So that's what we're doing here this evening regarding this part here with de-escalation. Not only is it gives officers a chance to evaluate a little bit more at the scene, depending on the person's mental status, and seeing what crisis is actually going on, and just being able to evaluate and hopefully get a better picture and understanding of what the person needs before any force is applied.
Matt, is there training that they need to go through for this stuff, or is it training they've already had?
Yeah, we do have some training. There is training that we are going to be looking at to do online training, as well as there are some of the training is actually going through the police academy. Like I said, this is not something that is new. When I was just on board, they used to call it verbal judo, which is just your ability to speak to the person and being able to talk to them. So the term may have changed over the years, but it's that same kind of idea where you talk to the person, try to understand what the issue is, see if there's any mental concerns, and trying to calm the situation down before going hands-on with somebody or using one of our tools.
Okay. Do I have any comments or questions from the board on this one?
No.
Any,
No.
any
Okay.
comments from the public? Okay, hearing none, at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve General Order 1.3.12.
So moved.
I think Harvey made the motion. Spencer, is that a second?
Yes, it is.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Policy number 2, the automatic license plate reader,
Okay.
General Order 5.1.24.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, this is something that has been worked on over the past few months that I've been officer in charge, but it deals with our policy on using the license plate reader that we have on 2 of our vehicles, and what the license plate reader is able to do. It's a system where an officer can scan registration plates on vehicles, and the license plate reader is able to pick up the license plate, and in a data bank, there are the license plates are listed as if they could be expired, or if they're suspended, or if a vehicle comes back stolen. The license plate reader will hit off of that and notify the officer while he's in the vehicle, and then the officer will then check to make sure that the plate was read correctly, make sure that it is the vehicle that they're talking about, and then they'll be able to make a stop on that vehicle and address the issue, whatever it may be. But this policy deals with that as far as the officers using that capability, as well as being able to request information later on if they need to pull back some of that information on a vehicle that they may have read at one point in time in the past.
This is something we've used in the past. We're just really memorializing the policy. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. Any comments or questions from the board on this?
Yeah, I had one comment, and that's on page 2, under paragraph A, where it talks about the use and express consent of the coordinator, which is fine. But I was wondering if maybe coordinator or the OIC, because in the next paragraph B, it talks about use of the reader will be at the discretion of the OIC. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. In paragraph B, when it refers to the OIC, that would just be referring to the senior officer that's working that day, as far as that. But I can, that can be changed to make that reflection if need be.
Okay.
Fine. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Any questions from the public? If so, just please mute yourself, identify yourself, and ask your question. Hearing none at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to approve General Order 5.1.24 regarding the automatic license plate reader policy. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Spencer made the motion, contingent on the edits that Spencer had suggested. Do I have a second to that motion?
Second.
Rick made the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And motion passes. Okay, next one. General Order 1.8.4, which is the duty to intervene.
Correct. Yes. And this is basically stating that officers, if they come across a situation where excessive force is being used, they have the duty to step in and intervene to stop that, as long as they are safely able to intervene, and whether that is by using physical means or just by verbal. But either way, he has a duty that he needs to step in to prevent another officer or another person from using excessive force.
And Matt, does this only apply to while they're on duty?
This is, yeah, I believe the policy is dealing with that. It's written to be on duty,
Okay.
but it's one of those things where, as an officer, we do hold ourselves to a higher standards to step in when we need to.
Yeah. Do I have any comments or questions from the board?
There's also something written in there about the officer that's asking that for the intervention is to report that to their superior.
I'm sorry, you were broken up. I didn't quite hear
Is
that.
there a paragraph I recall, and I don't have it in front of me, that
Okay.
the intervening officer is to report it to a superior?
Yes. Yes, if activity like this does take place, yes, it does get reported to the superior officer or the chief of police.
So it's not just about intervening, but it's also about reporting that situation to a superior.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Any comments from the public on this? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion for General Order 1.8.4, duty to intervene. Do I have a motion to approve this general order?
So moved.
Harvey made the motion. Spencer seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And General Order 1.8.4 is approved. And the last one, General Order 4.15.1, which is a mental health evaluation for law enforcement officers. Matt.
Yes, and this one is, like I said earlier, coming right out of Act 59 of 2020. And what it deals with is it deals with officers having the ability for a mental health evaluation stemming from a post-traumatic stress disorder incident. This may be something that can be the officer himself makes that request to his supervisor, chief, and it also could be a recommendation that coming from the chief or supervisor, having an officer do that evaluation. And then the third way is within 30 days of an incident where lethal force is used, the officer would then need to go for an evaluation. And while he is being evaluated, he will be placed on administrative leave in order to complete the evaluation, and then depending on what the outcome of that evaluation is, from the determination by the medical professional, it will determine if he is able to come back to duty right away, or if he needs to spend a little more time just on administrative duties until he's able to go back to his full work.
Okay, any comments from the board?
I had one comment, and that is on the second page under B. It talks about a licensed mental health professional, and then down further it talks about a licensed physician. Are we saying then that the licensed mental health professional wouldn't be involved in that part of the evaluation at all then? Or should we include can be treated under a licensed physician or a licensed mental health profession? Because a mental health professional could be an MD, but it also could be a PhD, clinical psychologist.
Right. Yeah, we can expand that if we want to do that. Either way, if you look down into the subsection E, it is something that is the mental health professional is somebody that the department approves. So it'd be our decision as far as who's receiving, or who the officer goes to as far as the care.
Yeah, I think that would be appropriate. I mean, I'm wondering how easy it would in the case to get a licensed physician. How easy that would be in it, or and even timely it would be. I just don't know though. But it would seem to be appropriate to me anyway to add the licensed mental health professional. That's all.
Matt, what's your thoughts on that?
I can check on that to see what is recommended, and I can get back to you on that.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, do we need to wait for that information for us to approve this, or can we make it contingent upon satisfactory
Yeah, why
Yeah,
don't we
what,
do that?
why don't you can do it that way and make it discretionary to Matt, maybe.
Okay. So we need a motion to that effect, motion to approve
So
general
moved.
order 4.15.1, contingent on officer in charge Steikert's research on the mental health professional at his discretion.
So moved.
Spencer made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Rick seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And general order 4.15.1 passes. Next on the agenda, Fernbrook Lodge payment application number 2. Eric, I'm going to kick this over to you for an update. Erica.
Thank you. I was just getting back to the full screen.
That's all right.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Fernbrook Lodge is coming along. We have here a certificate for payment, essentially substantial completion, and the total amount of this request is $35,617.50. The retainage is being held in addition to $2,000. There will be a final inspection on the project. The contractor still has a few minor things to complete. I believe 1 or 2 windows left, and then addressing a few things and clean up in general. But we'll be taking a look at everything, and it's certainly coming along. They're making a lot of progress, and we finish by the end of the year. Let's hope.
Okay. All right, there's no action to be done on that. It's for informational purposes only, so we'll move right. Go
Oh,
ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have the payment application if the recommendation for payment.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
Wasn't
that's
on that.
okay. Sure. It is $35,617.50.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to release that money as part of application number 2. Do I have that motion?
So moved.
Rebecca made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Harvey seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay, moving again to the next topic is the open space and general fund reserve recommendations for reinvestment. Erica, I'll kick this right back to you so you can bring us up
Sure.
to speed on this.
Okay, we have a number of investments that have matured. The CDs have matured, and we have one with Fulton Bank. Raymond James is the investment provider, and it's the open space reserve account. It's $1,545,275. And then at Pliget, the Pennsylvania Local Government Investment Trust. Those are the open space fund reserve account. That's $2,053,883. Our real estate tax reserve account of $1,141,255, and our traffic impact fund $285,502.76. We had those CDs mature relatively in the same time frame, and they earned a good amount of interest that has been posted, reflected in these numbers here. We are certainly looking at reinvesting and doing the best we can to remain stable given the current conditions of COVID and the market impacts. Currently, in looking at interest rates on the tools we have available to us as a government entity, the interest rates are quite low, significantly low compared to the past few years. For example, we've had these CDs, a range of CDs with 1.65 to 1.9%. And we're looking at numbers, every week we're looking at these things, but the most current today is 0.20 is being offered by Pliget, and 0.15 is being offered by Raymond James. And that is not something that, that's something that the market, the conditions are like this for banks in general. I've certainly talked with Pliget, with Raymond James about our options moving forward and what we should be doing. And certainly it's up to us. We can monitor the situation given a variety of factors and moving forward. I will say the funds right now, they are sitting in they're called Pliget class, and for Raymond James sitting in an account and waiting for some guidance as to how we reinvest. The Open Space Review Board did meet and looked at the open space investments because there's significant funding here for the open space program. Looking at different things. Is it a ladder of CDs from 1 year to a few years? Well, because of the state of affairs, probably not at this point. Keep it at 1 year short-term increment and look at protecting the principal on our funds and seeing what we can do to monitor conditions as we move forward on this money that the township has as reserve fixed term types of accounts. So when we look at that, it is good to have at times have the Raymond James and have Pliget, a variety looking at your banks. And we have 3 institutions here, or 2 institutions. We have extra accounts with a former institution. But to do that in order to spread out and see, remain competitive with our rates. So what we're looking at is 1 year CDs, protect the principal, monitor what's going on, and just really watch out for what's coming in terms of the market, so we can protect the township's reserve.
So Erica, what you're saying is that everybody comes in under 1%.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, with that in mind, I think I would be in favor of a more shorter term allowance on these CDs.
Okay.
Any comments from the board?
Yes, I'm in favor of keeping them in a short-term CD with the principal guaranteed through the FDIC. I think that's the safest. That's what we had before, and it was broken up through a number of different banks.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in favor of continuing in that fashion.
So when you say short term, you mean a year?
1 year or less.
Right.
Because if it's less, the rate goes down.
I would say 1 year.
The 1 year would satisfy how I feel as well.
Yes, me too. Harv?
I agree with Spencer and Rick. I think
Okay.
that's a sound, prudent way to move forward in this environment.
And Rebecca, anything?
I agree. Yes.
So Erica, what's the breakdown of what's going into these CDs? What's the total?
It has to be $250,000 below FDIC insurance. We'll cover that in the increments for each. So it will be broken down for each reserve account. The only addition to that, the Open Space Review Board also discussed, we're keeping a pretty significant amount of money at Fulton Bank for the open space maintenance account, which is $1,980,118. So there was a recommendation to move $500,000 from that account to the Pliget real estate or 2A reserve for CDs, but the Pliget, it would be earning a little bit more. So it would be our recommendation to do so to the Open Space Fund Reserve account, which currently has $2,053,883. What that means is the township's open space maintenance account held at Fulton Bank is our liquid fund where we can use that for projects as they come up. And as we have discussed, what is in the pipeline that will sufficiently cover costs for those anticipated or even a buffer for unanticipated projects. So in also reinvesting in these CDs, these 1 year CDs, it would be also initiating a transfer of that $500,000 from Fulton Bank to Pliget to the open space reserve there. So that would be a recommendation since that balance is so high.
And the maintenance fund balance got that high because it's been building up over several years. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public on this? Hearing none, I'm going to ask for a motion to reinvest the township's open space and general fund reserves held at Fulton Bank and Raymond James, as well as Pliget with a new one-year CDs, correct?
With the principal protected.
Yes, yeah.
So moved.
Rick made the
Second.
motion. Spencer seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we need a second motion to transfer $500,000 in the open space maintenance fund account held at Fulton Bank to the Township Open Space Reserve account held at Pliget.
So moved.
Second.
Rick made the motion. Harvey seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion's pass. Moving on to the budget. It's that time of the year where we need to advertise the 2021 budget. And I believe Erica has a presentation on this.
All right, thank you very much. The township is definitely in different times along with every other municipality, school district, business entity. So as part of my job coming in, I like to lay out a process, which we started back in summer. So gathering data from department heads, reviewing reports, draft budget proposals, really immersing myself in understanding the township, what's going on as far as input on how to handle some of these issues, the market conditions, watching the information as we receive our monthly reports and trying to digest that and put out budget recommendations for 2021. So we had a budget workshop on October 15th. We reviewed our initial draft. We were working with budget proposals from the various departments on, public works, police, general administration, and what is going to be needed for the upcoming year. Taking that information into account, we refined that, and we had a budget workshop number 2. That was November 12th. We presented the draft with a deficit. We were looking at a deficit as much as we, and I will lay this out here in my presentation, looking at the revenues versus expenses here. At workshop 2, it was just about 67,000. What we're looking at this evening is a budget that delivers the same services and high quality, programming and department functions as we have been in the past, adding some things, but also looking at a deficit of about 74,000. So we present this evening looking at the 2021 budget, and November 23rd, here we are. We would have to advertise this evening for 21 days, and then the adoption would occur by the end of the year. So budget impacts, like I discussed with the pandemic, we're projecting conservatively as far as our revenues are concerned. The township assessed valuation, we received that. The valuation went down by $1,606,404. We are monitoring the commercial market conditions. We do have a strong property value, but the commercial market, given COVID and things going on, that's something that we're going to have to look at from, development moving forward, something to be cognizant of. So staff estimates our year-end budget for this year, given the variances of operations and managing different things, to come out with a net income. We have constricted some of the expenses while picking up on revenues towards the end of this year. So we'll see how we fare out. Our liquid fuels allocation, which helps us with all our road projects, was reduced due to the gas consumption that decreased over this past year for 2021 with a reduction of 8%. So the budget, general fund budget versus 2021, we adjusted our tax revenue, have a bit of a contingency for uncertainty with COVID, have continuation of existing programs and services, as I said. This includes maintaining the fleet status for the police department, replacing a patrol vehicle, restructuring staff positions a bit. So there's a second tier for supervisory roles within the police department. The public works department maintaining the fleet status there as well. And then the general fund revenue and general fund expenses, when you look at year to year, there is a significant grant if we do receive it through stormwater grant, which is about $280,000. So it looks as if the revenue is increasing overall. The tax revenue is going down slightly, and then the expenses overall, we have had some savings in operations, and we will remain stable nominally. Other funds, the open space fund, we'll maintain sufficient funding for similar projects as they come along, Fernbrook Lodge and technical assistance on any acquisitions. The liquid fuels funds, that's allocated for repaving the work on Laurelwood Road, traffic signal service, debt service. And then the DEA fund are funds allocated for police equipment, but that'll be exhausted in 2021. Couple other recommendations, establish a capital fund. We know that these are big ticket items. They come around every year. Keeping preventive maintenance is very good, but thinking about the future in terms of not just vehicles, but facilities. A recommendation is to combine 3 existing capital accounts held at Fulton Bank to come to $284,000 so that we can start building a capital reserve. In addition, the rainy day fund requirement, just to kind of go, this is a practice to be done annually, but I like to, during the budget process, ensure we make a statement that the accounting standard is to have 35% of all general operating expenditures for the preceding fiscal year. If something would happen, and things certainly do happen now, and always have, that we have that and we're meeting that 35% goal. So we have that figure here. We're meeting that, and we have an undesignated general fund reserve of $422,000, given that 35% marker. Okay, so the proposed budget as presented, the general fund revenues, $4,839,139. Total expenses, $4,913,636 with this deficit here. Open space has a net income. The liquid fuel fund is balanced, and the DEA fund is proposed as balanced. Managing the deficit. It has been a difficult year. It's our job to forge ahead, and through good planning, we can try to anticipate how to manage these things as a township. This year, the recommendation is to budget for the transfer of that deficit as the reserve, and that went up by about 68 to that slide there. So it's 74, go back to that, 497. And then we would maintain the property millage. And that is where we are right now. Through the 21-day period, the budget will be put out and available for review. And I'm happy to answer any questions regarding this, but I certainly appreciate the budget workshop process and the staff and officials aspect in guiding myself through this budget for the township.
Any questions from the board?
The contingency that we're moving over to 74,000 something.
Yes.
We've done this in the past and we have not always used it, correct?
That is correct.
So it's only to meet the requirement. It doesn't mean we're necessarily going to spend that. However, we could.
That is correct. This year we had a budget for 2020 of about 230,000 that was plugged in as a deficit. Moving forward, that you have to know you have that reserve to put in as a balanced budget being presented. Some factors shifted. Things are looking at the last quarter here, and we anticipate that we may not have to do that, but it is very good to just, project and look at what you have available to do so.
So last year, even though we had projected a deficit, we actually came out in the end ahead a few $1,000s.
Right. Budgets are budgets,
Yep.
projections.
Yeah. In spite of everything this year, we still came out ahead. And that was going into it thinking we were going to be in the hole, but we still managed to.
Well, traditionally,
positive.
we've pretty much always been there.
Yep. Yep. That's true. Any other comments from the board? Any comments from the public? Does anybody have any questions or comments they'd like to make? Please unmute yourself, identify yourself, and state your comment or question.
It's Chris Washburn. You have to specially designate an amount for the open space maintenance out of the open space funds every year, and for maintenance of properties acquired with open space funds. Is that $200,000 again?
Yes, if I'm still on. Yes, Chris, I kept that the same.
Thank you.
Sure.
If that's enough to take care of, not only Fernbrook, but the Coventry Trail in Kenilworth and that kind of thing.
Right. And, I appreciate that, because that is the annual amount that, we have to meet regardless. So we have to tailor everything back to that amount.
Any other comments from the public? So at this time, I'm going to ask for a motion to advertise the proposed Township 2021 budget as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Rick made the motion, Spencer seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the motion passes. So Erica, this is posted on the website. You had sent me something
Yes.
just a little while ago that was updated. So I put that on
Okay.
the website. So the latest version of the draft budget is currently available on the website. People will have 3 weeks to provide any comments. Is that correct? And
Yes, we are actually exceeding the 21-day requirement, since the adoption falls on the second meeting in December for the board, which is December 29th. So yes.
okay, very good. All right, right now we're going to go supervisors report. Rebecca.
Hello, yes, I have a report. Last week I was invited to the Boy Scout troop number 137 that is conducted at the Coventry Church of the Brethren, and they asked me to do a presentation to fulfill 2 merit badges. The first one was the Boy Scout First Class Rank 9A, and this was to visit and discuss with a selected individual approved by the Scout leader, such as an elected official, and that's the role that I filled, regarding the constitutional rights and obligations of a U.S. citizen. So I reviewed the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. We had some discussion on that, and it went fairly well. The second part of the presentation met the merit badge of the second class rank 8B, where we were to explain what respect is due to the flag of the United States. And so we had a long discussion about the flag, its symbolism, what it represents, the changes it's gone through, how to treat the flag. And then at the end, we had some question and answers, and we had some flag folding exercises. And were you able to put up that picture? At the end, they took a picture.
Yes. Can you see it? Can everybody see it?
Oh, okay. The long one. Yeah. So I just thought that was very nice. And it was my pleasure to do that. And I was, well, received, and I think it turned out very, very nicely for everyone involved. So that was my activity in the past 2 weeks, and I've received no other concerns. So that's it for me today.
Good. Thanks, Rebecca. Rick, do you have anything?
No, nothing for me, thank you.
The only thing I have is a question on 1778 St. Peter's Road. Erica, what's the latest on that? I saw some emails from Sharon stating that the
Sure.
cars were removed.
The cars are removed, yes. So we had compliance. So that is good, at least on that aspect right now.
Okay. So what are we waiting for there otherwise?
The property owner and his plans for the property and intentions. So as far as talking to his legal counsel, he is working on it. That's
Okay.
what he said.
But at this point, the grass has been maintained this year and the cars are
Right.
gone.
Mhm.
Okay, that's good. Harvey, anything?
Nothing for me.
Spencer,
Nothing for me tonight.
managers report.
Thank you. Okay. Little update on COVID. Cases are rising, as I'm sure you're seeing in the news, and Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine is announcing mitigation orders. When I had distributed this manager's report at that time, the orders that had gone in effective November 20th, including strengthening the requiring of mask wearing, as well as a new travel advisory for individuals traveling into Pennsylvania. And as of today, I know there's an update on, I know Thanksgiving, and certainly encouraging people to, limit their gatherings to their household, among other things. So I would please recommend that people go directly to the Pennsylvania, Commonwealth site regarding the information which I have provided as an assist on that. As far as the RSI, Recycling Services Center, there's some progress taking place on that site. DEP recently performed an inspection based on their review of some materials that had accumulated over years that had been removed. Now we have a clean notice with no violations from DEP, so that's good, and definitely appreciate everyone involved with the hours of help on that cleanup at the site. The Chester County Solid Waste Authority is working with SCS engineers, and they are providing some technical assistance in helping RSI to create a plan moving forward for a reopening as a reuse center, or a recycling and reuse center, potentially. They're working on a community survey that will gauge interest in services that can be supported and given the capacity and operational capacity for RSI at that location. More to come. Transportation projects. We've had quite a few meetings. The utility coordination meeting for Kime Street Bridge was held recently. That is being led by traffic planning and design and is in the final design stage. It's being let for bidding in March of 2022. In addition, the Route 422 interchange improvements, there was a coordination meeting held with Jacobs Engineering, and this is involving the reconstruction of ramps and bridge replacement planned along the 422 interchanges in North Coventry Township at 724 Kime Street Bridge, Hanover Street interchange, and Route 100, as well as the replacement of Laurelwood Bridge. Those projects are in varying stages of design and coordination. I know this has been a long time coming. We watched this through the 422 Corridor Coalition and the like. So that coordination will take place for the next 4 to 5 years. So we're keeping our tabs on those projects for the township. As far as our financial update, I did go through the budget, but as far as the condition of our budget for 2020, the taxes and fees revenue collected for Year to date through October 31, 2020 is $4,684,729, representing 97.5% of total budget, which is good. And then on the expense side, the actual budget figures with total expenses of $4,246,250 is 82% of the budgeted amount for that period. And I will just close this with the township office will be closed for Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving holiday on Thursday and Friday, November 26th and 27th. Thank you.
Dan,
Yes, with respect to Tripodi, as promised, I did follow up with Mr. Corey. Mr. Corey did send me correspondence. Mr. Corey apparently communicated with Judge Mann as to what the next step is. As I had apprised the board before, there were various potential developers who came on or over the $1 million mark that Judge Mann had placed on in his order. Judge Mann has stated that until the Commonwealth Court has made a decision with respect to the Tripodi's motion to enjoin the sale, he does not want Mr. Corey to take action with respect to the sale. I have not received any communication from the Commonwealth Court with respect to argument on it. I can say that the Commonwealth Court has not granted an emergency motion to stay the order, but Judge Mann has decided that, according to Mr. Corey, that he does not want to proceed until the Commonwealth Court has made its decision. So that's where we are at this point.
okay, very good, thank you. Public comment. This is the time of the meeting where the public gets a chance to speak. If you have a comment or question that you'd like to offer, please unmute yourself, identify yourself, and ask or comment away.
Good evening, it's Charlie Walker,
Hey, Charlie.
and I'm calling on behalf of the neighbors here on Circle Court that brought to your attention the trailer issue of being parked 9 months out of the year off and on, and it's in storage, I believe, now for the winter. But I want to thank the township and the police department for looking into it. And I think currently, though, the police department has exhausted any regulations available to them to prevent, an extended period of time for the trailer to be parked there. So we're asking, while it's winter and the township might have some time, to be a little proactive and maybe create something in a regulation or amendment to a current ordinance that the police can use to limit the amount of time that it's parked there. A lot of times it's not hitched, as you know. Sometimes it is hitched, so you got a 30-foot trailer and a 25-foot truck, which is, not what our roads are meant to be used for as far as trailer storage, I don't think. So we're just asking you to be a little proactive and see what we can do. If you have any recommendations or ideas, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Charlie. Eric and I did talk about this today. I know the police were out there. Corporal Zinger was out there to take some measurements. We're formulating a solution on this. It's not as easy as, just posting no parking signs, because it's a negative impact to everybody over there. And trying to work that out. I think Erica is going to do some research over the next couple months and see what options are available to us to try to address this problem, and we'll just have to report back from there as she learns more.
Because word of mouth could get out and they say, hey, I can park trailer there on any township road, and it's not an issue. Well, I don't think we want that.
Yeah.
And we want things to be safe. So whatever you can do, Erica, in your research would be wonderful.
Very good. Thanks, Charlie.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, and have a good holiday.
You too.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Paula Terrell from Coventry Farms.
Hey, Paul. How are you?
Hi, good evening. I'm well. And yourself?
Good, thank you.
Good. I just have a quick question. Had the pleasure of walking through Fernbrook this past week with my dog, and I noticed the house that is being renovated. And I came home and I looked through past minutes and looked through Parks and Recs. And what's the game plan for this facility? Do we plan to rent it out as a venue, like we rent out, the Kenilworth facility? What's the overall strategy that we're putting a lot of money into the location? So do we plan to renovate the cabins as well?
That's probably actually a question better pointed towards Parks and Rec, because it is a park and they're essentially overseeing the use of the park and the plans for the park. I don't know if we have anybody here from Parks and Rec who can comment on discussions that have been held in those meetings, as far as especially the outbuildings, the renovation. Anybody in Parks and Rec want to step up?
So would you recommend that? So what would you recommend I do? I was just curious.
Vince.
Hey, Jim, this is Vince. I
Yeah.
speak to the lodge because I think it's still a question that has to be understood, is what the long-term plan is for the lodge. I think that's what you saw. As far as the cabins, we're in the process of trying to develop them as educational cabinets. So some of them, you'll see names on the cabins representing some type of forestry item. So, and that's as far as we've gotten with that.
So we renovated this beautiful lodge. What's the game plan for it? Like, do we plan to rent it out? Do we plan to use it for meetings? Other than just once a year for the annual fair that we have? Is there a reason why we put all this money into the place? Are we going to do something with it?
Well, the reason we put all the money into place is to save the building. I mean, essentially, when we started this, the roof was in bad shape. The walls were see-through. You could see right through them. So everything we've done up to this point has been a preservation mode to preserve and save the building.
Is it a historic building? I'm sorry. I didn't see a plate anywhere. Is it historic?
Spencer, what's your?
Is that why we saved it?
It is an historical building. And because of its being a centerpiece of a lot of the uses over the past few decades, it was felt that it was worth preserving.
So what defines historic? It's usage or it's age?
Well, age is one criteria.
Okay.
And then any historical significance would be a second.
Okay, and how is that determined then, Mr. Claypool? I don't mean to get off track. I'm just trying to figure out what we're going to do with this beautiful building now that it's.
We have a historical commission, and they're the ones that provide information as to whether or not a building is historic or not.
And whether or not we want to put it on our list. If you look, you can look up all the requirements for classification of what class historic building. There are many classes, okay? To fully understand it, you're going to have to do some research and read it. We can't explain it all right here tonight, okay?
Right. I just wanted to know what the long-term plan is for the lodge.
Part of the long-term plan will be that it will be available to be rented out for events. Okay, we're not looking solely to make it a revenue stream, as I understand it. but it will be available to the citizens of North Coventry. Like if you want to have a gathering, family reunion or something, you'll be able to reserve and rent that lodge and have it there.
Great.
If a group wants to have a group meeting, they'll be able to use it. If
Good.
committee wants to have their meeting out there, they can use it, but it's only going to be in use. I think it's March or April through early October. Okay. Because we're not going to pay to put an expensive heating and air conditioning system and everything in it.
And Harvey, do you have a time date for that, since the siding's almost completed? And like, what are you looking at, 2021?
The schedule right now is with the architect and we're waiting to get it back. Okay.
Okay, and then once that comes back, does it come before the supervisors for approval, or?
Yeah, it'll have to go through rec parks and open space, and then it'll come to us.
Okay, great. Then the supervisors, and then we'll go ahead and start renting it out. And so that's something that I can share with the community, that the future of the lodge, it will be a rental facility for North Coventry residents. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, but I can't give you a date.
Right, no date, but it's not going to be 5 years. I mean, it's going to be sooner than that. I would think, since the siding's up and we're talking about the kitchen already.
I don't have a crystal ball, okay? When we get the plan back and it's agreed to, and if improvements are approved, then we'll have a better idea.
Okay, all right, well, thank you. I appreciate the discussion. Thank you.
And we are moving forward. Things are progressing, so.
Good, I think that'll be nice for the community to know that. I think, many of us have wondered if it's going to, who do trails and take their dogs there, want to know if it's going to be available for rental. So that's a nice thing to know.
Yeah,
maybe could you throw it in a newsletter, maybe? The newsletter, township newsletter?
It's definitely a priority, for sure.
Okay, good.
We wouldn't be doing all the work to get it.
Of course. I just didn't see anything in writing when I looked through minutes and things. I was looking for, that.
Yeah.
Like the date and target date and expenses and such. I couldn't find that. So I thought I'd bring it up.
A moving target for sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
I do have a second question if I can.
Sure.
Well, I've enjoyed, with COVID, everyone's home. So my husband, who works for Comcast in Center City, is home until July of 2021. So we try to take walks, and we're enjoying the Schenkel Park, and we did the Fernbrook, and more recently we've been using the Hanover Park. And are you going to put a portage on there or something like that? When you need to use a restroom when you're over 60, it was kind of, I had to run over to Writing. Do we plan to put some type of?
Actually, we do have restrooms over there. They've been closed. They remain closed because of COVID.
I didn't even see any signs. I didn't see signs for it. Where are they?
They're against the building, right against the building. The eastern side of the
east side.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll take a better look. Okay.
Yeah, it was always designed. That was always the plan, to have those restrooms there. We have.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know.
Locks that were on timers, but then once COVID came, we can't provide. Can't clean them continuously.
Okay. So, great. I didn't see a sign, so I was like, oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll look next time. Thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Paula. Anybody else? Going once, going twice. Okay, very good. I just want to thank everybody for joining us here this evening. Our next meeting is December 14th, 2020. We are going to have an executive session. But before that, just wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. This is a tough year to find things to be thankful for, but I'm sure whatever your dinner looks like this Thursday, whoever you're sitting around the table with, there's plenty of reasons to give thanks. and hope each and every one of you enjoys the day. So thank you, everybody,
Thank you, everyone. Be safe.
and we'll see you in 3 weeks.
Happy Thanksgiving to all.
Yep. And this time I'm just going to ask everybody to sign off so the board can have an executive session. All right, so the board has come back from an executive session. No motions were made, no action taken. So at this time, we are going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving.
You
Happy
too.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
Thanksgiving.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Here,
Sue.
guys.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.